The House yesterday passed a bill that would allow the federal government to keep borrowing money for 3 months. Now it puts pressure on the Senate to pass a budget. What is your take on that? Will you support that?
Let me just tell you where I am on that right now, Hop, and I've just seen it and heard about it because it kind of came about pretty quick.
Mm-hmm.
I have a hard time understanding how can you turn your back. February 14th, they're supposed to hit the ceiling, the so-called debt ceiling, correct?
Yes.
Now they're saying, okay, now until May, 3 months, May 15th, 14th, 15th. Don't worry about it. We'll act like it never happened. Does that mean we're not going to incur any more debt? We haven't met a date that we haven't kept a date that we've met. We haven't met a deadline that we said we would. And I just can't believe that we continually kick it down without facing the problems of spending, of looking at loopholes and offsets and credits that could close the revenue gap, all the things that should be done.
I think the strategy by the Republicans is force the Senate to finally pass a budget, and then you can have real budget negotiations.
Okay,
if the House passes,
let me give that one to you. Okay.
All right.
I am a co-sponsor of No Budget, No Pay. I'm a national co-chairman of No Labels with John Huntsman. That's one of our big pushes. Let me give you the difference between the two versions. Our version of the bill basically says if a House and Senate cannot come together and agree on a working budget, neither side get paid. You know what theirs says?
The Senate. The bill the House passed says the Senate doesn't get paid if you don't pass the budget.
Or the Senate if you don't. But let's say this. No, they don't say that. They say hold it for 1 year, escrow.
Oh, okay.
Because of the 27th Amendment to the Constitution. Our bill basically said when we start the 114th Congress, we can change the rules. That means you really don't get paid. We just don't hold your money. You follow me? That's the difference, Hop.
Mm-hmm.
It's just unbelievable, the optics of what they're playing. It doesn't make any sense to me. Now, to say absolutely, someone's going to have to do a heck of a job convincing me that this is a responsible, prudent way to move forward.
Well, it might be the only way. It might be the only way because it's not, I mean, somehow, I know what you're saying, but somehow there has to be leverage to get you guys, I mean, the collective you guys in Washington to actually do something about the spending. And I don't know, I'll defer to smarter people to figure out how to force that to happen because it hasn't happened yet.
Oh, I think it's going to happen basically if we run ourselves into an inflation where we get downgraded on credit rating because we're spending more than what our cash flow can support and what the value of our economy can withstand. I think it'll happen like it does in everybody else's life. It just happens a little bit different in your life or a business life than it does in a government life. Just ridiculous. I mean, I can tell you the number one thing. If you don't get your financial house in order, if you don't try to have a path to where you're going to be able to live within your means, it'll catch you. I don't care how big you think you are. It catches everybody. And for us to continue, Hoppy, think of the times. I've been here 2 years. We're not taking the sequestering serious, and that was a penalty that if we didn't get our house in order, now we kicked that can down the road another 2 months. They're not serious about that. They're looking for every way to negate that, and that's basically $1.2 trillion in cuts. We basically have what we call Budget Control Act that says, guess what? We're going to quit spending above these limits. We never cut one thing out, Hop. But we said over the next 10 years, we'll basically discipline ourselves not to spend an extra $930 billion. That's all we've said.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how.
Can you run your life that way?
No. Believe me.
For the next 10 years, we're not going to cut anything back. We're still okay. But I know all the extra spending you wanted to do, you just maybe can't do it.
Well, we talk about it all the time here. It's just, and we keep looking at Washington, going, when are you going to do it? When are you going to do it? Why are you going to do it?
You tell me why people just rolled over and said, okay, 3 months now we have no debt ceiling. We don't even recognize a debt ceiling, and we know that we're incurring and accruing about $4 billion of more debt a day.
I think, and I don't look. I think the Republicans did what they did because the president said he wasn't going to negotiate on the debt ceiling, and he said if Congress had got to do the responsible thing and pay their bills, the fear was that if the Republicans pushed the issue, that they would get blamed for default. So that, I think, is the rationale behind it. So everybody's kind of moving the chess pieces around. And, I mean, it's like, well, I'll give you a better example. Like you were back in junior high and you're circling, getting ready to throw a punch. Everybody's circling, waiting for the thing to break out. And at some point, you got to start throwing punches on this. I mean, it's really. I mean, you can't just keep circling forever.
yeah, this is foreign to me. I've been here for 2 years. I don't understand this mentality. I don't understand politics trumping everything that's good for our government and our country. I just don't do it. I can't do it. And I'm willing to work with Democrats, Republicans. I think they know I'm right in the middle, center, so they can come to me, and they are. Can you talk to so-and-so? Okay, hey, Joe, can you talk to so-and-so over there? I said, sure I can. And I start thinking, that's a sad scenario. These people have been here a lot longer than me, and they don't feel like they can talk to each other. And they're coming to me to be, like a facilitator. You just got to make an effort, Hop. And it's a shame. This is the greatest country on earth, and we're going to do everything we can to make sure it remains that way. But boy.
Let me, U.S. Senator Joe Manchin's with us. Story today, Connecticut's 2 U.S. senators are joining forces with California Senator Dianne Feinstein and other key senators proposing a retooled federal ban on assault weapons in the wake of Newtown. Senator Richard Blumenthal told the AP that the proposed legislation will be unveiled today in Washington, D.C., will more narrowly define what's considered an assault weapon under the resurrected ban.
Yeah.
Do you or will you support any form of an assault weapons ban?
I think they've already had their press conference. I heard that. I haven't seen the outcome of that. And I have told them this. Until you have a commission with expertise, the people that understand guns, that understand the mental illness in this country and the lack of us reporting mental illness, until they understand the violence that we have in the media, until they're willing to confront that, to say it's a one issue. I'll give you a perfect example. My gun, a Howell 400 that I deer hunt with, they changed the stock. I'm looking to see now, I've been told that now that makes that an assault weapon. That's crazy. It's a gun that, semi-automatic guns we've hunted with forever, they change the appearance. But you have to have people with expertise. I told the Vice President, I said, Mr. Vice President, with all due respect, there's not a law-abiding, legitimate gun owner and enthusiast, whether they're an NRA member or not, that would believe that you or any member of your commission would fight for their rights and their guns, because you don't come from that environment or that culture. So, Hoppy, I'm trying to put common sense to it. The background checks make sense. If we can do it and do it right, we have considerations for the culture of families giving guns to their children. That's the way it's been done in my family. It's the way it's been done in about every family in West Virginia. But I've talked to gun owners all around the state. I've been going out and talking to them, trying to let everybody give me their input on it. And the first logical step would be, can't you get the background checks and get the information? Can't we make sure that someone who has been violent but has mental illness is able for us to track and make sure that person shouldn't get a gun?
Do you think there should be universal background checks on anybody who wants to buy a gun? Right now, it's done only for federal licensed firearms dealers.
I think a background, and I'm working on a bill right now with other senators, Democrats and Republicans. We're trying to get it and looking at a background check that basically says that if you're going to be a gun owner, you should have a background and be able to pass a background check to be able to get that, with exceptions. The exceptions are their families, immediate family members, some sporting events that you're going to, that if you're just going to be using them at the sporting events. So we're looking and talking to people with expertise. I'm working with the NRA, to be honest with you, and talking to them. I think they need to be at the table. So people keep shoving them away.
So you think that if you go to a gun show, I'm just talking about your everyday gun show that's at the Marion County Armory, and you go to the gun show, and there's a private dealer there, not a federally licensed firearm dealer, but a private dealer, and you buy a gun from that private dealer, that you should have to undergo a background check.
Common sense. Why would a legitimate gun retail shop have to go through that, but then the unfair advantage for someone at a gun show doesn't?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Doesn't make sense, Hop.
Now, you and I, just real quick, because you and I got a little scrape a week or so ago. We had a disagreement because I suggested that you had walked back some of your gun control comments.
I can't even keep people talking.
I know, but I'm saying that right after Newtown, a couple days after that,
right.
And you said on my show and on Morning Joe, you said you didn't see why anybody needed a large clip or an assault weapon, and I believe you toned down your comments.
I didn't say no on the weapons. I mean, I just said that a person that might have an assault weapon If you could, hell, we're having a hard time having definition, Hop.
Oh, I understand that.
And if you don't have the expertise that knows that, but the bottom line is, you know what? I might not have a weapon that you might have. You have a right to tell me why you have it and why you use it for and why you want it. You have it. Right now, we can't even, it seems like people are guilt by association. They're going to want to take it away. I said, wait a minute. Don't you think you ought at least sit down and talk to the people, have expertise? And I've used the terminology guilt by conversation. And Hop, what I've said all along, everything should be on the table taken into consideration. Well, you can't do it if you don't have experts that know the field.
All right.
And that's all. I think it makes all the sense in the world. I'm not opposed to a background check, with the exception of our family values, the culture that we have, a sporting event that I might be attending. You follow me?
Yeah.
And I'm getting input from all the people, and they say it makes sense. And we want to make sure we have thorough background checks. Why can't we look at the records? Why haven't all the states done what they're supposed to do?
Oh, I know. The background, the
Sure. Why haven't they done
that's
their
a mess.
job? What's the stick? What's to make them do that? We got to look at that. But the culture of mass violence, I haven't talked to a person that doesn't believe that we've desensitized our public, especially our children, against violence. And I have always said that. I support everything, and we're looking at everything.